connecting with nature, with love and devotion. A trusting companion builds high on emotion. A good horse and rider are patiently trained. Together they're one to let go of the reins. Let's ride some horses, but remember they need a leader to trust in, to help them succeed. Let's ride some horses, that look in their eye. So saddle me up and let's go for a ride.
Gotta meet my smiling dog, Patch. Smile for him, Patch. There it is. Good boy.
Whoa, let's ride some horses, that look in their eye. So saddle me up and let's go for a ride.
Our horses work hard for us every day, so nutrition is a major concern. I've relied on Purina horse feed products for over 12 years. Purina is always on the leading edge of research and nutrition innovation, and with their feed guard system, I know I can rely on the safety and quality of their products from coast to coast. No matter what you do with your horse, Purina has the right product for you. Visit horse.purinamills.com or find them on Facebook for more information. Welcome to Riding Horses. I'm Kerry. Today we've got a really exciting show for you. What we're going to be talking about today is kind of what I've built my whole approach with horses on, and that is actually leaving the round pen. We've got Cowboy, a 4-year-old gelding. This is going to be his first ride today outside. We've used him in our first episode talking about how noise and movement bothers our horse. And today we're going to expand with what we've asked from this little guy, and we're going to take him outside. But before we get traveling out across this pasture, I want to talk for just a few minutes about the confidence that people build in these horses, with these horses inside this round pen. For me to open that gate and just take off, that's kind of how I grew up. I'm used to doing that on horses, but for a lot of people, it's tough to leave that comfort zone. So what we've done here with our round pen is we've worked up a little area outside the round pen so we can actually get outside the fence, but yet stay close to it. So I can kind of still build on that confidence that I've developed inside this pen. Now, as I come out, I no longer have that fence to lean on to contain my horse, so to speak. And this is where I really need to dig down deep and make sure that, number one, I'm not holding my breath, but I've really got to try to find some way to show this horse that I trust him. And it's amazing to me, the people that we deal with and the horses that we work with, how big of an issue it is when you no longer have that fence to lean on. Okay, and what I've realized with a lot of these young horses, when you first come outside, like Cowboy right now, doesn't want to stand still. So for me to come out here and just fight with him, to try to make him stand still, it's pointless. See, my idea of coming outside that round pen is to be able to go somewhere. So maybe the first time I come out, maybe I'm not interested in whether or not my horse will stop and stand still at all. Maybe I'm just interested in, can I go somewhere? And while I'm going, most importantly, do I have a little bit of steering? So this track we've got right here around the outside of this round pen is what I'm going to use. I'm still close. I feel like I'm still pulling off this confidence that I built in this round pen. I'm going to go ahead and flow on around it here. But I'm going to use this track as I go. Maybe we'll just ease him up to a trot here. Use this track to give myself some room to see if I could steer a little bit. He wants to ease on up to a lope. So again, this is his first trip outside the round pen. So I've got my fence right here if I need it. See, I could always just kind of steer him in here to this fence and use that fence to help turn, use that fence to help change my direction. So I feel like I can still lean on that fence a little bit, and it might really help me build some confidence just being close to it like that. Again, I want to be able to go somewhere. I want this horse to understand if we come outside the round pen, then we ought to be able to go somewhere. Now, again, first time outside the round pen, I realize I'm loping in the wrong lead, but it's not that big an issue to me right now. What I'm concerned about is just going somewhere, showing this horse that he doesn't have to just stand still, giving him a little bit of direction here. You know, just this circle alone, if he doesn't follow my steering here, I'm going to end off way out there in them trees somewhere. Here I'm going to bend him into that fence again and just come through this direction. Now, if he'll flow on out of here at a walk, maybe I'll just flow back and forth here for a second at a walk. But you see how I'm still using that fence where I don't feel like I've put all the responsibility on me. I've still got that fence to lean on a little bit. And just by really easily tipping that nose into that fence like that, I'm letting that fence help me change directions. But yet, the horse understands the fact that the fence is now on the inside of our circle, not on the outside of our circle. So it changes my feel here. Now I feel my horse wanting to drift out. But guys, once we start out across this pasture, that's what we're going to have. We're going to have this colt drifting all over the place. We'll offer him a spot to stop right here. Maybe give him a chance to stand still. Now again, what I'm thinking here is I'm outside my round pen. I'm still close enough. I'm still grabbing some of that confidence that I left on the inside. But I've got to say to my horse, if you can't stand still, that's okay. I think for us as riders, we come out here, if you didn't grow up like I did, working on ranches and covering a lot of ground and getting really comfortable out there, it can be pretty overwhelming. But we get so focused when we get in that overwhelming spot, we get so focused on, can we stop our horse? And for a young horse that's never been outside, they might be as intrigued and excited to go see new country as you are. You know, you lope enough circles in that round pen, you pretty well have the terrain laid out. It gets pretty boring, I'd think, for the horse. It sure does for me. So staying in here close, using this fence, just flowing around the outside of this round pen is a great place to start before we just take off and go cover some country. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Riding horses each day is a horse lover's dream.
We've been riding CSI saddle pads for close to 12 years. This custom pad was made for us in 2005, and with probably close to 10,000 hours of use on it, you can clearly see how well they hold up. With their flex plate designed to disperse uneven saddle pressure and their interchangeable Velcro system, these saddle pads will fit any horse and offer superb protection. So if you're serious about keeping your horse sound and comfortable, you need to let CSI saddle pads have your horse's back. If you're passionate about riding horses like we are, your joints are gonna pay the price. We use the products at High Logic to protect us and keep us going. Highland Pro for our horses, Hyaflex for our dog, and Synthovial 7 for me and my family. Welcome back, folks. Okay, we've come outside the round pen and we've got moved over here to a spot where we don't have any fences to lean on anymore. We started out using the confidence that we had in that round pen and using that fence to kind of get us started, get outside that round pen, get breathing again so we're not holding our breath. And now we've moved out here to a spot where this colt's got a lot of room. He doesn't want to stand still, so I'm going to go ahead and get moving here. I've picked a spot where the ground is pretty flat. The grass is short enough that I can see if there's any holes out here. Now there's some cactus around here, so I'll do my best to steer around the cactus. I sure don't want to fall off and land in one. But now that I'm out here in this spot where it's open, now I have the true effect, guys, of finding out if my horse is really going to listen to this bridle through these reins, okay? So I don't have anything to lean on. Everything's going to hinge on whether or not this horse will follow my lead. Now, he went ahead and picked that life up himself So I'm just gonna trot him around here for a minute. I don't want to say to this colt that he can't go move around, because the whole idea of coming out here is to get him moving. So I want to just direct this life. Here I'm staying in a circle. We'll go ahead and pick him up right there, bring him around. I'm going to use some circles right here, guys, for my confidence level. Okay, if I just come out here and set my hand down and just go, chances are old cowboy here might try to outrun the wind, which if I'm comfortable with that, then I'll go with it. But if I'm trying to build my confidence level by being out here now in the open and I don't have anything to lean on, then I'm going to use these circles to help slow this horse down a little bit, where I don't feel like I've got to ride the brake. Okay, you come out here and you find you a spot like this. This to me is where I really build more attention and focus from my horse towards me, because like I said, there's nothing for him to lean on. So everything's happening through my reins, through my seat, my legs, for all my steering. You see how I'm just gonna flow around here. Maybe I'll use some figure eights. I'm keeping everything really simple, but every time I pick these reins up, I'm just asking this horse to follow that feel with his nose, and then follow the nose with the feet, with the body. That's the idea of being out in the open. Now, if you haven't spent much time out in the open, guys, and you don't really have much concept of the float that these horses naturally carry, and I like to tell people that when you first come outside, your horse is going to feel like he's traveling around in a box. And that box is going to be pretty big to start with. It might be 20 foot wide. So as I'm steering this horse around, if he's floating around inside a box and that box is 20 foot wide, then there's going to be a lot of drift from side to side. Okay? And the idea of coming away from that round pen now is to start to show him how we can work on narrowing that box a little bit just through our reins. So the more I pick up on him, I'll come across right here. Now I'm going to pick up on him and bend him around here pretty tight and ask him to come around a little bit quicker than I was before. See, as I start to ask this horse to follow his nose a little bit quicker, then what I'm saying to him is, when I feel you start to drift to the outside of that turn, I need you to follow that feel quicker. And the quicker he starts to follow his nose, guys, the narrower that box is going to get from side to side. Okay, the only way I'm going to have a true feel for that is I got to find me a place where I can get out here in the open and there's nothing for him to lean on. Now, a round pen's a great tool, great place to start building some confidence. But if I'm really going to get where I can go have some fun on my horse, we'll go ahead and ease him up to a lope here. Again, first time outside, here I am loping to the left in the right lead, but I'm not that concerned about my leads on a day like today. What I'm concerned about is, can I come out here and just get moving around, bend his body a little bit, keep it as simple as you can, guys. These reins are tied to his nose, and I'm going to use the nose to direct where the feet go. Okay, so by bending him from side to side, there's a good shot, bending him to the right. You see where my hand is, bending him here to the left. That's all I need, guys. If I can come out here and show my horse that I've got some confidence in what he's doing, some confidence in where we're going, some confidence in my seat, some confidence in my balance. You know, and I know it's hard to build when we leave it all back there at the round pen, we come out here in the open, but the idea is to be able to say to my horse, I'm the same rider out here that I was in there. Now stay tuned. We're going to go find some uneven ground to go work this horse on and give him a chance to figure out how to pay a little more attention to where he's putting his feet. We'll be right back.
Riding horses each day, is a horse lover's dream.
When I hook up my trailer, I don't need any help. I use an easy latch and do it all from the ground. I don't climb in my pickup bed. I don't bang my head or tear my new jeans. With the easy latch, I can lock or unlock the coupler, hook the chains, and load my horse, all from the ground. Once you have tried an easy latch, you will never be without one. Check it out at easylatch.com for this and other trailer accessories.
The Kerry training halter is designed to eliminate the rolling effect from a lateral pull to help keep your halter in place at all times. With sliding rings to ride with, it works with the rider to pinpoint pressure where it will help the most. Welcome back, folks. If you're just tuning in, we've taken this 4-year-old gelding outside for the first time, outside the round pen. You can clearly see he doesn't want to stand still. So I'm just going to go ahead and get him moving around right here. As we came outside of the round pen, we were talking about the confidence that we built in that round pen and how we wanted to take it with us, so to speak. And a lot of times when we leave that round pen, we ride out that gate, that confidence stays inside. So what we did to start with is we stayed close to the round pen. We actually just walked and trotted and loped some circles around the outside of the round pen and used the fence to help build some confidence in us now that we'd moved outside that fence. Then we took this colt over to a spot where we had a lot of open ground. There was no fence for him to lean on, where all he had was my direction, my guide through my legs, my seat, through my reins. Now we've brought him over here to a spot where we've got some uneven ground. And here's what I want to really focus on with this colt now. I want my horses to learn how to pay attention, and I want them to understand that it's not my responsibility to specifically place their feet so they don't fall down while I'm traveling around on this uneven ground. So when I start to come outside on these young horses, or maybe I'm riding an older horse that just hasn't been outside much, you know, a horse that hasn't crossed a little bitty ditch like this, you'd be amazed at how unbalanced they feel and how many times they stumble just at a walk. Well, when I find me a spot like this, I'm just going to flow back and forth here for a little bit at a walk, letting this horse kind of get the feel of this ground underneath him. But I want you to notice how I'm handling these reins. I'm going to get short on my reins, probably one at a time, just to direct where I'm going. But once he's following his nose where I want him to go, then I'm going to put some float in those reins, because to me, if I'm not riding with contact right here and there is some float in the reins, then I'm saying to my horse, it's your responsibility to figure out how to travel over this ground without me holding on to you. Okay, I feel like the only way I can really teach this horse to pay attention is to turn loose of him. So if I start out here at a walk and I'm just flowing around back and forth over these cow trails here. Again, it doesn't take much of a ditch, much of a trail, if your horse doesn't know how to travel over it, to get him to stumble. I don't want him to fall on his head. I'm just trying to challenge this colt a little bit to get him where he'll pay attention. And if I'm always out there on that flat ground, I feel like when I do go find something like this, see him stumble right there. Right as he stumbled, you saw how I let go of my reins? Again, I'm going to say to this horse, it's not my job to hold you up. At this speed, at this trot, to me it's not that big a deal. I'm not going that fast, so he doesn't have that much momentum. Here, I'm just going to make me a circle right here over this little ditch. We'll come right across these cattle trails here. And I'm just going to make me a circle right here. You watch him figure out how to step down in that, how to step over it. Again, as soon as I get him headed where I want, I try to turn loose of those reins so there's float in the reins, so my horse doesn't have anything to lean on as far as I'm concerned, leaning on me. Therefore, it puts all the responsibility on my horse to find his own feet. Now, things are flowing around here pretty good and I feel pretty comfortable with how my horse is doing. Then I might lope him across as I come around this time. Not a lot of room here. Lope him across those trails right there. So as I move from my flat ground to this uneven ground, looks like my steering has kind of left me a little bit. But again, I'm not really going that fast. I'm just trying to let this horse flow through here and figure out, I better learn how to pay a little bit of attention to where I'm going and where I'm placing my feet. See, it's hard enough, guys, to come outside that round pen and bring that confidence with you, but to come out here on a horse that doesn't know how to pay attention, doesn't know how to travel over this uneven ground, you're just making it that much harder for you to be able to come out here and smile and breathe and have fun. So if you can find you a spot where there's some uneven ground like this, it's not really bad, but yet it's enough to challenge the horse a little bit, hang out right there, spend some time, let that horse kind of get the feel of flowing over that. And most importantly, give that horse some slack in his reins so he understands it's his responsibility to pay attention to where he's putting his feet. Folks, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Riding horses each day is a horse lover's dream.
With all the hauling and training we do each year, we put a lot of stress on our horses. Since adding Forco to our feeding program to help maintain the digestive system, our horses have never looked better, acted better, or performed as well as they do now. Our horsemanship company keeps us out on the road all year long. We can't afford to be broke down along the highway with a trailer load of horses. Nothing keeps our trucks running better and saves us money with less frequent oil changes than BG oil products. Find your nearest BG oil product dealer today so you can enjoy the BG advantage. Hey, our tip for this week, we're talking about leaving the round pen. Probably the most important thing you need to remember to where you can be as confident out here as you were inside is you gotta remember to breathe. You know, a lot of times things change. You come outside that round pen, you start to get tight. Well, the first thing that happens is you stop breathing. Okay, so if you're talking out loud, if you're whistling, if you're humming, if you're singing, whatever you got to do to remind yourself you got to breathe, it's going to help you stay relaxed. And if you haven't had the opportunity to take your wife to Lamaze class, you need to go with her, because it's not just for childbirth, it's for preparation to leave that round pen. I want to thank you for staying tuned with us today. I hope you've really enjoyed this show. You know, this is probably one of the funnest shows for me, because my goal with my horses is to go outside and have some fun with them, and to be able to cover some ground, to go see some new places. And the idea of coming out that round pen just makes it, to me, just makes everything sound funner. So during this episode, you know, we came out of the round pen, we talked about staying close to it for our confidence level, how we're going to use that fence there in the beginning to help us with that. Then we moved over to a spot where we were basically out in the wide open. We didn't have any fences to lean on. All that horse had to go on was my guide through my seat, my legs, my reins. Kept everything really simple. I just wanted to get out there where this horse didn't have anything to lean on and see what he felt like, and just give him a chance to kind of follow my direction a little bit. Then we came over here and we found some uneven ground, give this horse a chance to learn how to pay attention a little bit to where he's placing his feet, help him understand it's not my responsibility for him to pay attention where his feet are going. And if you'll stay tuned for next week, what we're going to do is we're going to expand on what we started here with this uneven terrain, and we're going to show some more things where we'll actually go out and use other places on the ranch here to build more control in this horse, help him turn around, help him move off our leg a little better. Just using what we've got to have some fun, build more control in this horse, just makes everything safer for us, safer for our horses, where we can go have more fun. Thanks again for tuning in this week. Really enjoyed it. We'll see you next week.
Whoa, let's ride some horses, but remember they need a leader to trust and to help them succeed. Oh, let's ride some horses, that look in their eye. So saddle me up and let's go for a ride.
Say goodbye to the folks, Patch. Good boy.